Yes. Hello and welcome to Dancer Support Mission by Sabine Chalon for Shine Your Light. Today we have a new episode of Dancer to Dancer, Words of Wisdom. And the goal of those interviews is to meet the person behind the dancer and share with you all not only the highlight of someone's career, but also the challenges behind the scenes. Truly, my wish is to bring healing into the dance world, dancing to heal, healing to dance, one artist at a time and one personal story at a time. Hopefully, this will allow you to embark on your own personal healing journey inspired by others' experiences. So today, I am delighted to welcome Niku Navala Chaudhari, even though she told me that her name is much longer than this. I love that one. Niku, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. I know you're very busy and you have a little, is it a girl or a boy? A little toddler of 2 almost.
Oh, yes.
So I know how busy one can be like with this. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, you know, what we want with this interview, what we want to know is a bit, you know, how you came into the dance world, you know, what brought you there and how you decided to actually do this as a profession. So let's start with the beginning. Mm-hmm. How did you start dancing?
Well, I think from a very young age, my mother was a big inspiration for me, and she decided to embark on a journey of learning Shaolin Kung Fu. And as kids, like me and my sister, we went along with her, and my sister was immediately engrossed in it, and I was a little bit shy and watching a bit, but then in the end decided to go ahead. And we did this competitively. So we trained 4 to 5 times a week. And at the age of 12, we went to China to represent the Great Britain team in the international wushu competition. So
it's quite a challenge for a British team to go and show them how to do it over there.
I know. I mean, I realized once we got to China that we knew nothing, you know, like training in England, even though we had a traditional Chinese teacher, the level is so different, so different. Yeah.
So, but was it also, I mean, it's very much spiritual also, the actual training, no? Or is it mostly physical?
I mean, I guess there is the spirituality aspect of it, you know. I mean, discipline in itself, I think, is a spiritual act, you know, the physicality that you have to do and the mindset that you have to go through and overcome through the physicality is also, I guess, a spiritual act. But yes, I mean, from a very young age, my mother was also very much into yoga, philosophy, vegetarianism. So all these kind of aspects I grew up in. And we studied yoga from a very young age, and then the Shaolin martial arts. And then I guess it was like, an easy stepping stone to dance, because we got to 12 and then 16, and I was like, it became very, very competitive. And I wanted to find a way to express myself more, go deeper into the feelings of the physicality, or say something more with my body. And I remember me and my sister used to go to jazz classes and contemporary classes in London at the Place. And we fell in love with, dance. And and then we decided, somehow it just felt very, very natural. And then decided to take my A-levels in dance and study dance history and anatomy and those kind of things. And then went on to embark on a professional training at the Northern School of Contemporary Dance.
Okay. So how old were you when you did that?
I was, I think, just turning 18, 17, 18. And then I graduated when I was 2021.
Okay. So where did that lead you?
That led me to I was very lucky because I managed to get a job quite straight away. I was on an apprenticeship scheme with a company called Union Dance. And they mix a lot of styles like hip hop, contemporary, capoeira, all different kinds of styles. And then I got offered a job from a lady who mixed Indian Kathak with contemporary dance. And she was working with Mark Baldwin and Andre Gingras at the time. So it was a very small project. There were two contemporary dancers and she was the Kathak dancer. And that was my very, very first job. I mean, it didn't go so well, but it was the first experience of being in a professional setting.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, stepping stone.
Did your sister also dance as professionally?
My sister did also dance professionally, but I think with my sister, she is a lot more softer. Even though she was much more as a child, really much more enthusiastic and like dived in straight away. As soon as she became a professional dancer, she became very soft. She has a soft kind of elegance to her. And I think the competitiveness of the industry kind of shut her down a little bit. And so she decided to become a full-time yoga teacher in the end. So she did do professional dancing, but I guess not as much as me. I think I have a little bit more a thick skin, I guess, a little bit more toughness in the whole in the whole thing.
But I mean, what's amazing in your bio actually is that you did so many different things. I mean, it's like a different style. I mean, you really embraced everything you could embrace. So would you talk a bit about all this?
Yeah, I guess, my formal training was in ballet and contemporary. And at the university, there was also capoeira classes. I was obsessed at university. I would, even in the evening times, I would train. I would train, I would say 15 hours a day. I was something that I was hooked on. It was my drug. And there was a capoeira class there and I would train there. I just loved martial arts. I loved the feeling. I loved the ethos of the whole thing and how it complemented the contemporary dance. I mean, I never had the ballet figure. And I remember I struggled a lot with my ballet teacher because I remember one time he said to me, "Oh, you've put on weight. I can see it in your thighs." And that, as a young dancer, that really put something in my head, like, I'm too fat, I'm not, my body type is not good enough. And then I spiraled a little bit by not eating enough. And I look back at the time and I was like, how could I have not eaten enough for the amount of training that I did because of that one comment from my ballet teacher? So it was, ballet was a tough one, even though I think I was good at it. It was a tough one because I never fitted into this, the perfect form of a ballet dancer.
I don't think anybody does really. Very few people do, but
So yeah, I mean, and then I fell in love with the fluidity, the strength, the power, the earthiness, the groundedness of martial arts, capoeira. And
did you find those discipline artistic?
In terms of the music, I loved the music because it's kind of like, a trance-like music, the rhythm, the drums, the berimbau, the whole conversational dance of capoeira was incredible. It was an incredible feeling for me. And the second company that I worked for was Tavaziva Dance. And we worked with also African dance and contemporary dance and mixing the forms together and telling stories. This is something that I love to do, to tell the stories.
I've seen a couple of videos. It's beautiful. It's definitely super earthy. I really admire this work, because as ballet dancers, we touch a little bit of that, but on a different dimension, right? I mean, for me anyway, personally. And I really, really love watching it. When people do it well, it's very beautiful. So what would you say was your biggest challenge as a dancer?
The biggest challenge, I think my biggest challenge is to not let the knock. I remember as a very young dancer, not getting the auditions that I really, really wanted to get, you know, and being kind of knocked back. And I remember I auditioned for Akram Khan. And that was like, he was like my God, you know, I saw him perform at my college. And I remember they were in the back in the smoking room. And I remember I didn't smoke at the time. And I was like, someone give me a cigarette. I want to go in the back and talk to them and, you know, find a way to just say, hi, I really want to work with you, be an apprentice. And he did an audition. There were 500 people at his first, one of his second auditions after Kash, which was his first piece that he made. And I remember getting down to the last 10, but then in the end, he didn't take me. And I remember for 1 week, I lay in bed just like sobbing. And, but that was a long, long time ago.
But you work with him afterwards.
I did work with him afterwards. He said to me, maybe not this time. I think I was maybe a little bit too young at the time. But he said, you know, next time I would love to come and put you in my company. And he would come and watch me perform in London. I was working with Shobana Jeyasingh, who also mixes a different kind of Indian classical art, Bharatanatyam, with contemporary forms. And in the end, I made a replacement for Ma, which was I think his second piece after Kash. And they invited me to audition privately, and I managed to get the job in the end.
And how was that?
It was tough. I think it was tough because I was still very, very young. I was 23. I was really impressionable. And all of a sudden I was on this world tour with Akram Khan and his company. And they had already been touring for a very long time. And I think they were also a little bit older. So they were a little bit more tired. And me, I was like, wow, we are here. So, but it was, I mean, I love traveling, you know. At that time I loved traveling. I loved meeting the different cultures and performing in different spaces, and it was a lot of pressure to be on stage with Akram, and he was very tough with me. I remember him being so tough with me, and I was like, why is he being so tough? But I guess it makes you stronger in the end, you know. It makes
Tough
you
or demanding?
huh
Was it tough or demanding?
both. It was demanding because of the style, because he had such a particular style. And I came from school, so I was very much held, and I had the form, and you know, it had to be released but strong, and had all this floor work inside, and I was like, okay, wow, it was a style that my body had to get used to. But him towards me was also very tough. I remember one time he made this comment, and he was like, you need to open your eyes more, or something like this, or you need to get surgery on your eyes, you know, like little things. And I was like, surgery on my eyes? And yeah, and you have to push. And I was like, I'm pushing as much as I can, you know. But yeah, it's demanding, it's tough. And I think that's something any dancer has, I guess, young dancer or dancer has to go through if they work with big companies or companies that have such
and choreographers. I mean, because personality is always kind of, you know,
is a big thing to do. Yeah.
Intense.
Yeah, very intense. So yeah, that was yeah, it was a ride. It was a big ride. And I learned a lot from working with him, and how it influenced my physicality afterwards was a big
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, a big change.
Did you always work as a freelance, or did you work for long periods of time, you know, with companies and then change whenever you felt like?
At the beginning, I was freelancing a lot in London. So my contracts were like 6 months to 1 to 2 years. And then I worked with Sidi Larbi the longest. I was with him for 10 to 12 years I worked with the company.
In Antwerp.
In Antwerp, yes. Yeah.
And how is that? Because that's also completely different.
Completely different, but I think this company was really a place where I really learned how to speak on my body, or speak about who I was, and it was a really special time, um, because I think it's like something that changes quite quickly. I don't know. It was a time where I was like, okay, he took me for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I think maybe before I had to have some kind of form or some kind of personality to fit a choreographer that I worked for, because they had a vision of how they wanted me to be. But I remember Larbi taking me for me. It was for the audition for Babel, and he
Mm-hmm.
was looking for all different kinds of personalities and people from different cultures. And I remember just being me, talking, he wanted a British person, but also with a different culture. And, the first time I spoke on stage was, and it was really a long period of creation, exploration, improvisation, being with people from all different types of walks of life, a melting pot of cultures in like a meeting. So it was probably the
But
biggest.
that's when so that was in the company. So I mean, because I don't know how, I mean, when did Larbi take over Antwerp actually?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure when he became the director of Ballet Flans, but in 2010 he started Eastman, which
Okay.
was his company.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's when I joined in 2010.
Okay. God, I'm lost with the dates, and everything goes so fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know that you also teach.
Hmm.
So what do you teach? Classical, contemporary, your own style?
Yeah, I would say my own style. A mix of a lot of breathing techniques, releasing, yoga, contemporary floor work, all melted with a bit of capoeira.
So how do you call it?
I call it talking bodies. My
Right.
workshop that I teach is called Talking Bodies.
And so do you give, I mean, courses? Do you have the workshops? How do you do that?
I mean, I did give a lot of workshops and classes around the world.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is something that it feels such a long time ago for me, even though it's only been 2 years.
I know, but I mean, it changes your life, right?
A lifetime away. Um, so this is something that I was invited different conservatoires and schools to go and teach. And this is something that, yeah, just came from my own discipline, my own experience as a professional dancer, something that I needed to warm up or to something that, yeah, balanced my performance work also.
So if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they do that?
To join my classes or workshops.
Yes, but I mean, where do they find you? That's where I'm
Where do
asking.
they find me? Geographically or online?
Well, I don't know. Do you teach online?
No, I do not
No.
teach online.
So I'll put your anyway, you have a website, so I'll put your website in the
Yeah.
description. But I mean, some people might get fascinated and think,
I
oh,
mean, for the moment, I am working on a project called Kalakeli Movement Arts. So this is something my other little baby that I've been working on. And it's a 3-month intensive in the jungle of Goa in India. So I have collected, for me, the most inspirational international and Indian teachers from around the world, and I bring them to this special place called Jungle Dance. And we have 3 large studios there, and it's like a little cafe that serves vegetarian food. There is a open sauna, swimming pool, and it's an intensive playground to create, to move, to breathe, to practice yoga, to discover yourself actually. And this
mhm.
is something that I developed with my now husband. He was a professional boxer, martial artist, and we wanted to bring these art forms together in a intensive setting. So to bring people from all over the world, all different kinds of disciplines to come and train together.
And that's once a year, or?
For the moment, it's once a year. And India is the first place where it was created. And then let's see, there are thoughts of maybe doing it in Portugal in the summertime, because India is quite seasonal. So during the summer, there are heavy, heavy rains. So it's not so ideal to be there in the summer. So for 3 months of the year in India, and let's see, it's still quite a new project.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds exciting, though.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm like, I want to take the intensive. I want to do all of it. But whether or not I will be able to. I mean, we did this. I did this with another business partner before, under a different name. And this was just before the pandemic hit. And we brought, I think, at least 50 artists from all over the world to come.
Wow.
That arrived from everywhere, and we came, and it was really life-changing for a lot of people. So it was a mix of Indian artists and international artists, and from the money that the internationals pay, we're also able to subsidize 6 Indian nationals who don't have the finances to be able to access high quality contemporary dance training. So this is also the kind of ethos to give back to the country, that we're also hosting international people in.
So, but then who comes to those dancers, or any artist, who wants to experience dance as a...
Yeah, anyone. Yeah, they can be movement artists, martial artists, but they have to have I guess, an inquiry into dance and creation and exploration, improvisation. So we are offering it to a lot of different kinds of artists.
Sounds really wonderful.
Yeah, it's really nice, because at the moment we're still accepting registrations. So the registrations ends on November 15th. And we have lots of different people.
And it's for when?
Like,
when will this happen?
Next year, 9th of January to the 31st of March, 2023.
Oh, so it's almost 3 months.
It's 3 months training.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, we wanted to start this year in February, but because of all the international flights not working and COVID and the Omicron and everything, we had to cancel.
Wow, beautiful project. I love it.
Yeah.
So, but since we're talking about COVID, how was it for you? What happened? How did you experience COVID? Those 2 years?
I think I was really lucky. To be honest with you, I was just finishing the last month of the residency, and then I had just found out that I was also pregnant. And that was like a big, oh, okay. That was a big surprise. We were not No, it was not planned whatsoever. So that also hit. And we had 30 people from all over the world stuck in India. And for the first 10 days, the Indian government shut down everything. Everything. No supermarkets, no nothing. Everything was shut down, and you had to stay in your house. So we were lucky, because we were at Jungle Dance, and the lady who was hosting us had, I guess, food left over, but it was like, it had this sense of it that it was the end of the world, because we were in the deep in the jungle. We found out that this COVID had hit the world, and that there was no, not knowing when it would end. So she was, from this like abundance of food that we were having, we were rationed to like a small piece of rice, a little bit of rice and a little bit of dal, and everyone was like, what's going on? What's happening? And the police were on the streets, not allowing anyone to go out. And then I remember going on the scooter in the morning, just like, okay, let's get some fruit or somewhere. And there were like people on the streets, like scavenging for the last bits of food. And it was really at the beginning, it was really quite scary, because you weren't sure what was going to happen. And then after the 10 days, and they started opening up and allowing the produce to come through to Goa, I guess, I felt very safe. Very, very safe that we were in the jungle, had the freedom to move more or less. It was not as strict as Europe. We didn't have to, it was, if they found you outside, they would give you a 200 rupee fine, which is €2, €2.50, rather than a 200 euro fine for, abiding, and the Indian police, they would see you and you'd kind of walk the other way. They were not so crazy about it, but I know there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear in the group, and we had to manage that and how we could get people on emergency flights back. But we ended up.
But that was towards the end then of the course already, right?
That
Because it
was
was like
towards the end of
March.
the course, exactly. It was towards the end of the course, but that was still at the very beginning. And then we stayed until the end of August, so in India. Yeah, we stayed for a couple of months. We felt very safe there. We felt we weren't sure what was happening at the rest of in the at the other side of the world, and the care was good. We had we had the nature. We were allowed to walk around. We could somehow have some kind of freedom there. And I think it was only towards the end that people started to be really feel like you have to wear a mask. I think in the media, they showed that India was completely a catastrophe, but for me, where we were, it was the safest place ever. I didn't see death on the streets or, all these crazy stories of people
I
dying.
think it was like that everywhere. It's just that we were being confused, by what they were saying, So basically everybody, locked down in their own house and didn't look outside. So yeah. So and then so you made a baby then.
I made a baby. I made a baby.
It's like the bonus of the confinement.
It was the best time. I felt like I didn't have any, FOMO, fear of missing out. It was like, it's okay, no one's doing anything anyway, so I could
know
make
a lot of people were pregnant in that time, actually. They were like, well, there's nothing else to do.
It's funny because it's not that I never had this feeling of being a mother, but I felt like I always wanted to do my career first. I remember my mother always telling me, don't settle down too early, always do your career, and I felt it was so competitive. And when I saw other women having babies, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to dance forever. And then slowly you get a little bit older, and then you're like, okay, yeah, maybe. And then
maybe not forever.
not forever, but yeah, it kind of just happened. It just happened. So this is it's been the biggest creation, I guess, the biggest creation of my life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's an ongoing creation.
Exactly. The biggest responsibility, I would say, also, like
commitment.
Commitment, responsibility. I remember being on tour and touring around the world and being free and doing whatever you wanted to do whenever you want, and now it's like, okay, like even for the interview, I was like, okay, where can she be? Can she be someone? I need 1 hour. Can I prepare?
I know.
There's so much organization with having a little one. So yeah.
Yeah, I always admire people who have babies and come back to dance because I had my baby and I stopped, but some people go on and it's tough. It's not
It is tough. It's the biggest transformation on your body.
Yeah.
I thought as a dancer, I would be like, okay, I'm going to dance, I'm going to pop about, and I'm going to keep on dancing, and I remember Larbi had offered me a contract 6 months after I had Diana, and I was like, I'm not ready. My body is still not physically ready, even though 2 months afterwards I was like pushing to come back to, full form of, and it was like, yeah, I'm not ready. I can't do it.
And your mind is never free completely,
No, And I
It's
was thinking
different.
about the breastfeeding. I was like, how am I going to breastfeed her if I'm at work all day long?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's not important. The performance, the performing is not as important as the start of her
Of
life.
course. Yeah.
You know, you can always do so many performances. And I mean, by this age, I took, 20 years on stage, it's like, okay, how many thousands of performances can you do? And this is like once in a lifetime, you know,
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I can relate to the baby years.
Baby years. Yeah.
So, to wrap it up a little bit. I can't really talk to you about transition, between dancing, and because it seems like you've been doing organically everything together.
Mhm.
um, you know, some dancers, they stop dancing and then they do something else, but you've been just, I don't know, it seems to me.
I don't know. I guess I learned everything on the job.
Yeah.
If I think if I started out as my career, I worked for different companies as a dancer. And then working with Larbi, I got to have a different sense of management, because I worked with him as a rehearsal director. I staged some of his pieces and I really had to organize a lot of things with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then starting this project, I really learned how to do the marketing, how to organize things, or to, producing, all those kinds of things came, I guess, organically also.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if, as a young dancer, I would have loved to have learned those skills whilst doing the training, because it's always, the emphasis is always on the physical training and not how to market yourself or to be your own producer or to be your own manager or these kind of other skills that are necessary to
Yeah,
support your career.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some people do that as a second career and then they study for it, but it's
Yeah.
true. If you could learn some of, the basics would be nice.
Yeah. I think that would be something I would have loved to have been able to learn as well. And even now, it's still, I would love to.
Well, it seems that you're learning as you go anyway.
I guess
You
so.
never stop learning.
I guess so.
So
Yeah.
if there was, well, if you could give one advice to a young dancer that starts his or her career
Yeah.
today, what would that be?
I would say always believe in yourself. Always believe in yourself because there's going to be so many opinions, so many things that someone will say and do, or you won't get that one audition that you really, really loved, but it's not because of you. I think at the beginning I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. But it's like, it's not that you're not good enough. It's just that you don't fit the criteria that someone is looking for. So
Mm-hmm.
I think belief is something that you always have to have in yourself. I mean, I guess in life also to just be good in yourself and to be strong, because
And it's a
it's
life journey, I think.
exactly, it's a life journey.
To start
I-
early. Believe now.
Yeah, I think, yeah, self-confidence. And
So,
yeah,
well, do you have a tip for that? Because, self-confidence is a big word, but once you're in the thick of it and you don't feel confident, what would you?
so for me, silence is also something really precious. And sometimes
Silence.
silence,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, to take a moment and just to sit in a, I like nature because I love to surround even if it's underneath a tree or something. And I remember before some performances, I would go outside and would hug a tree. I would just be like, give me the energy, give me the energy. It's going to be fine. But yeah, just to sit and have 5 minutes of where you can really find silence
Mhm.
and calm the thoughts, calm the chitter chatter, and breathe. Something like this for five
Make
minutes a
some
day.
space inside.
Yeah, make some space inside. I think that's been my biggest learning, I guess, to find space. I mean, I did a Vipassana and I remember coming out of this Vipassana going, wow, that's like the biggest I don't know, the biggest thing that I've ever done, you know, coming out and going, you know, not having any contact with anyone for 10 days and not speaking and being on your own. It felt amazing afterwards, this experience.
Yeah, I
So
can imagine.
yeah, finding silence.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, Niku, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful conversation and for your beautiful energy. It's
Oh.
inspiring and contagious. And I'll leave everything, I mean, your website and everything, if people want to know more about you and also maybe do this, retreat, or how do you call it, course.
And a treat, yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would love to join too. Maybe this
Please.
year, but it sounds like a lot of fun. So
Mm.
thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And it's really wonderful to see your project, to see your work, and to meet you finally. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.